At some point I'm going to be rich and I'm going to get my hair back. Bet. Promise. Gonna happen. Anywho. Hi. Hi. What's up, America? How you doing? It's Nick Fury. And first things first, I have to apologize. We are doing our themed week, my first week in my attempt to speak to you every day, and I've already failed. Already screwed that up. This week was depression. Wednesday we talked about suicidal depression, and as I figured out, talking about depression is depressing. It is something I know I can survive, which is why I'm willing to do it. But it's still very unpleasant. It's very tiring. And so when I woke up on Thursday was supposed to be tips and tricks about coping mechanisms. And Friday was supposed to be community. Today, Saturday, is supposed to be review. So technically, I owe you 3 videos. I am definitely going to give you... I'm going to catch up. I'm going to catch up before end of tomorrow. I got things to do tonight. But I want to do at least 1, hopefully 2. I'll do a review at some point. But Thursday I needed a break. I just needed the rest. And Friday, life got in the way. Had things to do. So, here we are. Talking. We're back. We're fine. I feel better. First off, rest helps. And goes to show just how much 2 days can change you. You might be going through a bad place right now. Give it 2 days. Give it an hour. I was about to say something lewd. We're not there yet. We'll get there. But give it some time. So anyway, tips and tricks. Coping mechanisms. I actually really liked the way Wednesday turned out. I've had a couple people reach out to me, which is excellent. It means that this isn't in vain. And so Wednesday was unscripted. This is similarly unscripted. More importantly, more because this one is going to be a much shorter video, I think, because we can always go back to this. We can always come back to talking about what tips work, what tricks work. I'm going to give you the important bits. Hopefully I'm going to keep it to like under 10 minutes. And we'll move on, because I got another video to do, because I'm behind. So yeah, let's get into it. You're depressed. How do you fight that? No matter what kind of depression you are going through. Well, okay, let me back up a little bit. So I've decided to at least put this forth for consideration. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but I have to really work it through. But we define depression as a mental and emotional shutdown in reaction to whatever problem or problems are going on in your life. By definition, this means there are 2 different ways to approach leaving and dealing with your depression. The mental is logic. The emotional is emotion. In a shutdown, what you're trying to do is activate one or the other. Now me, I'm a really logical person. I know this week has been rough, but I want to make this channel talking to you about way more than just depression. I'm talking about a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to see me act and talk and laugh and dance and do all kinds of crazy stuff, just in an effort to establish myself and someone that you can trust, because you're going to know me. So while it might look like I'm doing something ridiculous, I need you to understand, really, it's because my emotions are something I don't really delve into that much. Not because I'm afraid of them. Clearly, that's not the case. I'm talking to you. What it is, I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm just not. I like to think my problems through. And when I see things that don't make sense, that's what bothers me. I just get stuck. And I sit here and I'm like, no, I can't. That's not that. No. So that's me. So what causes my depressions tend to be logical issues that eventually sift through into the emotional. And the way I get out of my depression is similar. I think it through. I had to come up with an objective, logical reason as to not do this anymore. It's not the first time I had to do that either. So that's the side I can speak to. However, I do know enough to know that you can also get out through emotion. I just find emotion to be unreliable. That's just everyday. It's not depression. It's not. That's just talking. I just find emotion to be unreliable. That's why I don't rely on it. I find emotion to be like just notoriously fickle, and I can't trust it. So it's annoying. It's also probably I'm going to die alone. I approach girls too logically. Anywho, I was on a good stream, and then lost it. Tips and tricks. So I can definitely give you a bunch of logical ways to go about it, and I can also give you a couple of emotional ways to go about it. In either case, though, if you are depressed, any kind of depression, right? Like there's the type 1 apathy, which is not exactly immediately life-threatening. It's also suicidal. There's a bunch of shit. There's way much that we can cover, and I've been through those two personally. That's why I want to talk about them directly. There have probably been others who are related, and there's others that I've never been exposed to, but they all have similar bits. So if you're going through something, again, please reach out to me, talk to me. I am interested and fascinated, and I love you. And that's not something that you might want to hear like up front. Like you want to hear, like, oh, fucking, I got you. Which I do. I have you. But I also find it's truly fascinating when I'm in a good mood, like I am right now. Yesterday, fuck. Like just, But I still want to hear from you. I want to do whatever I can. Okay? So anyway, tips and tricks. My very first one, and this is going to be common through all kinds of depression. It's going to sound simple, because it is. It's going to sound easy, which is lucky. As we talk for the rest of the several years, you're going to find that my major philosophy is simple, not easy. I don't believe in complicated problems. I just don't. The world is a simple place. We made it complicated. And you're going to hear that from me a lot. We made it complicated, which is great because that means that we can change it. If it's too complicated, we just throw it out. It's getting ahead of myself. But the world is simple. Most problems are simple. They might not be easy, but they're simple. They're like 3 or 4 steps. Complicated is like, an instruction manual with like tools and stuff and a YouTube video. And depression. So the first tip, breathe. Just breathe. And the thing is, people are going to say that to you, and they're right. And therapists are going to say it to you, and they're right. And I don't know how they say it to you. I'm not sure if they want you to breathe structured or have a measured in out, or if they want you to breathe through your nose, not through your mouth. I don't know. What I do know is that breathing grounds you. Breathing is something that you now know for a fact you can control. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is one thing that is yours. It is life-affirming as well. It is literally every moment I'm breathing is another moment I get to breathe. And it's huge. It's huge. It's massive. It's big. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you have to breathe like, 2 breaths for every second and 1 exhale for every... Just breathe. Just breathe. Become consciously aware of your breathing. Understand there is air entering your lungs and air exiting your lungs. And that is you. It's you living. If you're in, type 1 apathy, this might not sound so profound for you. If you're in suicidal depression, you probably woke up anxious the other day in the middle of a panic attack and you're wondering how you're going to survive it. That's how you survive it. Literally, there is no other answer. You just keep breathing. You can do a lot while you're breathing. You can punch walls. You can take knives to wrists. You can, go for a drive. There's a lot you can do. The doing, we have to learn to manage, but the breathing is the basis. So worship it. Worship that basis. You are literally not alive if you are not breathing. So worship breathing. Worship being alive. That is tip number 1. It's not going to sound too profound until the next time you find yourself in a panic attack and you'll be like, yeah, fucking yes, breathing. Yep. Another thing is eating. Eating is another major tip. It's another life-affirming thing. And I'm already over 10 minutes. Sucks. Way harder to do, though. So breathing is something you have to do, regardless, every second. Eating, you're not going to want to do. And I found this in both types of depression. So you're not hungry. You're not hungry. You don't want things. Nothing tastes good. You got to eat. You have to eat. And the idea is you eat enough, you get through, you keep your health up, you keep your weight up, and eventually you will be hungry. Eventually you get to a point where you're happy again, and it's going to just make you crave having energy to go out and do things. So at that point, actually, it's a really, really good point to pause before we continue. All these tricks I'm about to lay out, all these tips I'm about to lay out, these are dependent on the idea that you've either chosen a purpose or found your meaning and then chosen a purpose. All right? It's dependent on these things. Because, again, going back to what I said before on Tuesday and Wednesday, that is what's going to solve your depression. That is what's going to get you out, or at least through, whichever you're going through. Purpose will get you out. And again, depression, mental, emotional shutdown. You can't do anything. Purpose gets you to do. Suicidal depression is can't think, don't want to live anymore, don't want to live anymore. That's meaning. That is, I have a reason to live, and so therefore, because of this reason, I'm going to angle myself that way, and all my purposes from here on out are going to be related to this reason. So, all of these tips are dependent on the idea that you either A, have a purpose, or B, have a meaning. If you do not have one of these two things, and quite frankly, go for meaning. If you're not currently depressed, but you still don't have a meaning, because that happens all the time, start on working on finding one. This will save you a fuck ton of grief in the future. If you do not have one of these two things, go get one immediately. I can't help you. This video cannot help you with coping if you don't have one of those things. It just can't. What it'll do is it'll get you through the moment, but then there can be more moments. We're trying to solve the moment issue. We're trying to forestall the next time you are in a panic. We're trying to forestall the next time you're in the dark and blind and calling out for help and no one seems to be listening. These will not necessarily stop those things from coming, but combining purpose or meaning and purpose and these coping mechanisms, they should be able to do a fantastic job of beating that back. And I am my own test subject. I've lived years, technically most of my life, without depressing symptoms, right? Years. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I thought, no, never mind. That's just depressing. Talk to me later. Point is, this works, and it's not about not being there. No one can tell the next time you're gonna get hit. No one's gonna tell the next time you're gonna get hit, and then can't get back up, because that's what depression is. It's not about getting hit. You're gonna get hit. Not your fault. Not your fault. Laying down, not wanting to get hit again, also not your fault. But you are laying down, you're getting hit, you need to get up. It's about the getting up. It's about forcing your legs to move. So, breathe, eat. These are basic things. These are life-affirming things, and you need them. So what else we got? We have humor. We have humor. Humor's big. I'm a fan of humor. If you meet me, if you don't know me, which is currently ridiculous because only my friends would watch this, but later on, years down the road, or hopefully whatever, if you're coming into this and you don't know me in real life, in everyday life, you find me. I'm actually pretty fun dude. I'm usually in a good mood, at least in public, and I make jokes. I take out comedians. I catalog jokes. We have a good time. Nick Fury is a good time. Humor's important though, and I think about it. And thing is, you can do a lot by judging the humor of yourself and of people around you. So, for instance, perfect example. Sometimes I don't know how I am, and that's going to sound insane. I think this is a me thing. This is not necessarily a depression thing. If this sounds to you like it makes sense, well, great, happy coincidence. But this is a me thing. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing until I've done it. Sometimes I've got no idea where I'm going until I make a certain left turn. I'm like, well, the only thing down that way is Acme, so I guess I'm going to Acme today. I literally have no idea. Like sometimes, and the same way applies to how I feel. And so I'll make jokes, and sometimes I'll go over what I just said, like in the instant. Sometimes I'll go over what I said in the day or the week, and I'm like, Nick, you've been making a lot of these particular types of jokes. Oh, really funny? Oh yeah, dude, they were hilarious. You're brilliant, bro. Self 5. But on that note, can we talk about this? It's a little concerning. Depending on what you're laughing about, that can give you a great insight into your own mind. That can really show you, like, I've really been focused on like dead babies recently. And that's dark. Like we should probably investigate that. We should probably really look into what was causing that. I'm not saying it's wrong, which is another thing. Your humor is your humor. Whatever it is, dude, laugh. Laugh. Find a reason to laugh. Laughing's great. It's great. It's the best. Laughing feels good. And if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. And also, that's another tip later on, cry. Crying is totally fine. We'll get to that. Laugh. Whatever your humor is, go and do it. And be genuine about it. Don't force yourself to laugh. Don't laugh because I'm telling you to. Find something in your day. Laugh every day. It will remind you next time you're in that dark place, it's not all shit. It's pretty much all shit, but it's not all shit. And then you can construct a world where pretty much all shit comes into, well, there's only a little bit of shit. But laugh. Every day. Figure it out. You know what your humor is. And I've been bitterly depressed before, but I've never been so far down, so incapable that I can't find one thing to laugh at. Could save your life. So judge yourself by your humor. Hear what you're saying to people. It'll also improve your relations with people if you can really do the logical math of your own humor. It'll also teach you about the people you're around. So if you are hearing their humor and hear what they've been saying for a while, you might be able to judge where their mental space is. But that's high level, and that's not necessarily depression. That's just people. We will talk about people for years. We'll wait on that particular set of videos. What else? Breathing, eating, humor. So humor for me is a logical thing. Purpose is a logical thing. Let's go into the people who are not necessarily like me. Let's go into the people who react better, not with thought, but with emotion. Okay, I can do that. Anger. Anger is crucial. Anger is huge. Anger works. Anger is beautiful. Now, my last name is Fury, okay? And I guarantee you, one of the angriest people on the planet. I'm angry all the time. I am constantly angry. When I'm smiling, I'm angry. When I'm crying, I'm angry. When my face is like this, I'm angry. Like, and that's not my angry face, it's my serious face. It's my, get this through your head, guys. I can't show you my angry face because there's a difference between active anger, passive anger. There's a whole bunch of anger. People like to believe that anger is explosion. People like to believe that anger is like something that you see on movies or in TV where like you gotta break something or you have to hit like, a punching bag and that shows them how angry you are. They don't know shit about anger. That's not anger. That is, I don't know what that is. That's a tantrum. It's accurate. It's accurate. It's anger in the same way that like Velveeta cheese is cheese. I mean, it's cheese. It ain't brie. It ain't Gouda. Like there's so many different flavors and there's so many different deeper impressions of anger. And again, fury, honey. I've been dealing with anger my entire life. Anger is flame. Anger is harnessable. Something that you can use in order to push yourself forward. Keep you determined, keep you focused. Huge fan of anger. You're allowed to be angry. Don't be in a rage. Don't be mad. We will talk about anger specifically if you'd like. We can talk about the entire emotion of anger alone in a separate video. Just understand there is a point to it. In fact, there's a point to all emotions. I'm certain of it. My problem with emotion isn't that they exist. My problem with emotion is that they tend to run wild. And that's why I keep them in constant check, personally. Because you can't trust them in the extreme. You can't trust anything in the extreme. But fear makes perfect sense. You're trying to avoid trouble. Anger gets you through fear. And depression, the first emotion you're going to meet when you're trying to get through depression is going to be fear. It's not going to be sadness. Quite frankly, sadness in its own way is a way out of depression. It's going to be fear, especially if you're a logic type of person. If you're a logic type of person, you have a logical type of depression, which means trying to solve it is going to cause straight up fear, which is illogical and it's annoying, but it's going to happen. I promise you this. Anger defeats fear. You gotta be so fucking just done that you're like, I don't give a shit if I'm afraid anymore. I'm walking through. End of it. I'm done being here. Anyway, anger. We'll talk about it, but it's useful. Infinitely useful if you have a purpose or meaning in mind. Because what's going to happen is they're going to be sitting there, going to be feeling worthless. And then what I don't want you to do is get angry at the world. I want you to get angry at you. Get angry at yourself. Right? I'm worthless. I can and I will, and fuck you for thinking that. And you get up and you go about your purpose. You do your steps. This is going to get you moving even when you don't want to be moving. And that's important. We are solving the shutdown. Move. Breathing, eating, humor, anger. Ooh. There's one last thing. I mean, there's more. There's way more. But there's one last thing, and then we're already at 25 minutes here, and I was trying to keep this one shorter. So there's one last thing I really want to talk about, and that is how you treat yourself. That is the mental bit, right? That's you talking to yourself in your mind. I talk to myself out loud constantly. I look like a crazy person. But then again, I've got a great voice, and I have great conversation. So, fuck them. But everyone talks to themselves, I'm pretty sure, at least in the sanctity of your own head. And really dangerous. Nothing to be done about it. Perfectly natural. Thing is, your mind runs, and your mind runs at the speed of thought, which is literally the speed of light. Like, it's electrons firing within, like, centimeters. It's electricity and light, and it is fast. You can think so much faster than you speak. So there will be 100,000 million thoughts coming at you that you need to be able to control. So let's talk about controlling your thoughts. And I like to call this the leash. It's a technique, or less of a technique, more of a practice. And because it takes practice. For me, right? For me, there's a very common thing that I say to myself all the time. Happens even when I'm not depressed. And it would be spur of the moment. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not actually upset. I'm not angry. I'll just be driving or walking or whatever. And like, fucking, Nick, yeah? Hate you, man. I know. And when I'm not depressed, it's merely amusing. That's it. It's like, Nick, yeah, hate you. Yep, I get it. It's usually after I've done something that I think is stupid or, potentially evil, whatever. I'm not always the best person, but I'm trying. When I'm in a good mood, it's amusing, not all life-threatening. But when I'm depressed, that shit affects you. And more importantly, it affects you because it's negative. And so even when you're in a good mood, it's still a bad idea. It's still not smart to go through it. Don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean? Don't beat yourself up in ways that aren't helpful for you, I should say. And no one should say they hate themselves. Sometimes they'll be like, Nick, you're fucking stupid. I'm like, yeah, just no one should do that, unless you are in fact stupid. But that's something you can work on. Don't hate yourself. Yesterday I said something about forgiving people. Forgive yourself, okay? It's cool. You're the only person you got. You could have a wife, you could have a partner, you could have a dog. You have all these things, and they might last, and they might not. The one thing that you know that you have is you. From now onward, from the day that you start breathing to the day that you stop. You are the only thing. I am not saying don't rely on other people. We will get to that. I am saying you need to be able to rely on yourself. You might be fucked up right now. You might be fucked up later. You might be scared later. I'm not saying that you got to do it on your own. I'm saying you got to be able to trust you. And the you that you can trust is such a nicer guy if you just stop, beating yourself up. Stop going to war with yourself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I like to call this the leash. I recently what I've been doing is I will force my thoughts into vocation to slow them down. And I'll be like, Nick, yeah, you know what? What? I hate, and I'll stop. I'll be like, it's a hard arrest. If anyone's ever seen me in the past 2 or 3 weeks, it's weird. It's weird looking. You can see it on my face. It's like, Nick, right, okay, sorry. We're good. Specifically, it looks more like, Nick, yeah, I hate, I know. Sorry. It's cool. And you step back. You take baby steps back. And it's been working for me. So it starts off with you start off judging it with how many thoughts get through. Then you continue judging it with how many thoughts you manage to curtail or to, what's the word? It's a C word that movies use for content. Oh, this is gonna bug me. Curtail. It means restrain. Oh my god, I should not be worried about this in the middle of this video, but it's gonna bug the crap out of me. Oh god. Constrict? What's the thing that people it's like a conspiracy theory word. It's what's the thing that governments do when they don't want you to learn something? Damn it. We have to go with restrain. So for the sake of the video, we have to go with restrain. So it's going to start with seeing how many thoughts slip through, right? Then it's going to become how many thoughts you've managed to restrain, or damn it, I got right back to that fucking word that's missing. I'm so sorry. Give me a second. I can't. see it in porn all the time. It's like when they blur something. It's right there. It's right there. I'm going to find it by the end of the video. I promise you I'm going to find it by the end of the video. I'm going to be like, that's the fucking thing. Anywho, it's how you, it's how many times you've managed to change the actual wording. And eventually it'll become how many times you stop it altogether. And after that, you stop thinking about it. After that, you just stopped being mean to yourself. It's going to really fucking bother me. Moving on. I can't. Moving on. Oh, that was the leash. That was the leash. You are creating a mini you inside of your own head to keep yourself in line. It's going to start off with a heavy jerk. It's like, ah. And eventually, the you that is the rabid dog that is running off will learn to respect its master, which is also you. Just a better version of you who's not abusive. And, yeah, fucking that. Learn to physically and consciously stop yourself from beating yourself up. Forgive yourself first, and then figure out a way to stop it. And eventually it will become an unconscious routine. And you won't be so mean to yourself anymore. And it should last. It should last for a while. If you end up in depression again, you might have to reestablish your leash. But whatever, man. It works. It works. What the fuck is that word? And last but not least, this is getting long again, and I'm not trying to do that to you. But last but not least, friends. So yesterday we were supposed to do an entire video on community, and I guess now I'm going to have to do a video on community after this. I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to it tonight. I do have a thing to get to. But it will be within the next 24 hours. I promise you. I promise you this. I have all of Sunday. I'm going to do it. But your friends, this is big. This is crucial. You are not going to want to meet them. You're not going to want to go out. You're not going to want to do your usual things. You're going to wait for a day that you feel better in the week. Like, you're going to cancel on certain things. And all that's fine in theory. I'm telling you, use them. Be around them. There's going to be moments where you're so overwhelmed that you think that you can't fucking do it because you don't want to be vulnerable around them. But they're either your friends or they're not. So figure out the friends that you can be vulnerable around. Figure out the friends who are just fun. Figure out the friends who are going to listen to you. Listening to you is clearly the gold standard. Those are the people that you want. And we also know, because we're adults, that not all friends can actually do that. And that's fine. Really take a second to look through who you know. Just because they don't listen to you does not make them bad people. It might make them bad people, but they're your bad people. Just use them for fun. Like if they're only good at fun, don't try to be deep with them. They're gonna let you down. Duh. I wouldn't take a fucking Corvette off-roading. That's a really good analogy. I need to write that down. I wouldn't take a Corvette off-roading. It's not its purpose. But I'd take a Corvette on a fucking straightaway. Hell yeah. Obviously. Use them for what they're good at. Find the friends that you can really talk to. Find the friends who are willing to help you out. Do that. Those are they're your good ones. They might not even be your best friend. Well, they are. They're your best friends. Absolutely. No. That's right the first time. They might not be your best friends. You might have best friends who are there for you more often, who care about you in different ways that appeal to you specifically. But they are excellent resources. I've had people that I've reached out to who really fucking get it, but end up being just terrible for me. You know what I mean? Depression causes weird things. Like I the first time I was hanging out with this crew of people for like a year, who on the one hand got me through. On the one hand, they got me through. On the other hand, I did not like who I was that year. And I did not like how I was with them in that year. So on the one hand, thank you, people who I will not name, for getting me through that. On the other hand, fuck fucking shit. So glad we don't speak anymore. Like it's some darkness. But whatever it is, you're going to want to isolate yourself in one form or another. And it's going to be a short-sighted mistake. It's going to cause you to lose friends that you don't need to lose. It's going to cause you to push away people because you're testing them now, right? You're like, hey, look, if they really love me, they won't go away. That is inaccurate. That's not true. They don't know how to help, and they love themselves first. You have to understand that you're depressed. You should really actually get this because you're depressed. You're going to be selfish. And you're trying to look for people who are selfless, which we know the world typically is not. We haven't trained them to be that way. We could. We can change the world. That's going to be most of this channel. But tonight, we're talking about you. Don't expect them not to be selfish. The fact they even showed up at your door because they're worried about you is amazing. If you throw rocks at their head, what they're going to do 9 times out of 10 is walk away, and they're not crazy for that. They might be small, they might be limited, and they're definitely not, standing there taking the rocks in the face, which is what you want them to do. But they're not insane for not want to get rocks in the face. We'll talk about it. Long story short, there are plenty of tips, plenty of tricks. We can talk about this all day. But what we talk about today, breathing, eating, humor. Watch your humor. Watch their humor. Figure out what it is you're saying. Also, laugh often because there are good things in the world, even the dark things. Watching somebody fall. Is it mean? Yeah, it's hilarious also. Don't sit here and be judged for what you find funny. Don't go out there and make somebody fall. That's psychotic. But, you're allowed to laugh at it. Anger. Get angry. Find that motivating force that just fuck this and move. Keep your friends close and cry if you need to. Cry if you need to. Anyway, I'm getting out of here before 40 minutes, which is good, great, awesome. I really need to start writing scripts for these things. I talk too much. But I love you. I love you. I love you. And you are not alone. We will talk soon. I will definitely finish up these videos by end of tomorrow. And also, on a happier note, I'm going to start a new channel where I just read to people every night. That's one thing I know I can do every night around, I want to say 8:30. I was going to put it into place next Sunday, tomorrow. I think I still am. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Love you. Got you, fam. You are not alone. Reach out to me for anything. Talk to you soon.